show. I am your hostess with the mostest, Nadiva. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Got the show.
I like to jump in right in and get all hyped up with everybody, you know?
You can't escape, Delise. You can't escape.
I have
Just let it
nothing to
happen.
contribute.
Just let it happen.
I'm
Got
just
the
gonna be
show.
right here.
Take the top note. Got the show. Got the show.
She gonna chime in. She gonna chime in. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Without further ado, let me just jump right ahead and jump into introducing my two beautiful co-hosts. To my right, I have my lovely and beautiful godmother.
Thank you. How sweet of you.
Yeah, and always looking beautiful inside. And one day we'll talk about our history and everything on the show one day, so y'all understand how we have all come together. And then to my left, I have Michael. Maestro.
Still recording from the show.
Yeah.
Got the show.
Got the show.
I'm going to let you have that.
Come on, we need a third person. It's the harmony. You got to do the harmony. Three parts.
Got the show. Got the show. Show.
You are still with it?
Yes, they sure does.
Got the show. Okay, come on. Reel it back in. I'm sorry, y'all. This is what happens when you got musicians at the table.
That's my fault.
You know, Delise is trying to fight it right now.
Listen,
but
with the board, we're going to assimilate you
She's
after a
like
while.
a double dutch. She's waiting for her to jump in.
No, Miss Silly.
She's like, I ain't co-signing for that. Nah. But yeah, we have lots of fun on here, and we are so happy to be able to share all this funness with you all. But look, we're gonna jump right into our Diva Table Topic today. And today, what we're gonna be talking about is how do you know that he or she does not want to be with you without them telling you?
My God.
How do you know when he or if he or she does not want to be with you without them telling you?
Yep.
So we're going to be talking about that today during the show. We're going to be just jumping right into the topic. We're not going to be doing a feature today, but I think this is perfect because we're coming right around the Valentine's Day season.
I'm sick of all this candy in the store.
And, you know, sometimes I know it's all for love and relationships, but if you're with somebody and you're experiencing this type of behavior, it might be time to say,
It's a bunch of malarkey.
it's a bunch of
Oh,
malarkey.
there's a word of the day. There it is.
Yeah. So let's get right into the word of the day.
Perfect.
My godmother just jumped right in. Go ahead, godmother.
So the word of the day is malarkey. It's meaningless talk and nonsense. Here is my sentence. The husband told his wife she spoke a bunch of malarkey when she tried to explain the hidden Amazon boxes.
Oh, I've experienced
She
that
was
one.
flubbing.
I'm
She was
sure.
flubbing over her words.
Right.
It was flubbing and
Yeah.
Okay. I got tongue twisted
That's
myself.
all right. That's all right.
I
baby.
like
It's
that
all right.
sentence though. I like that sentence. I have one. I have a friend that was speaking a bunch of malarkey when I was trying to tell him about this topic, and he was trying to do all kinds of turnarounds with the topic. It was a bunch of malarkey in my ears. It just made no sense. So yeah, shout out to him.
Was that a malarkey like shout out?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That was
Shout out to
shout out
him.
to him.
Yeah, wherever he is, I hope he's watching because you're gonna learn today.
Hey.
What?
Hey, relax. It's all right. It's okay.
Oh, I'm not mad.
No.
Don't take my passion as mad. I'm not. Because I did tell him, I said, listen, because you don't really understand this question, we're going to talk about it. Because he felt
So
like the
chime
question was
in.
irrelevant. Yeah,
Oh.
so he
Well, that's a lot of times people do that because it
well,
hits
that's why we
home.
have the show, so
It
we
hits
can give them
home,
some
yeah.
clarity.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about that today. We're also going to be using the word malarkey in a sentence. But before we continue on with the topic, we got to check out Dee Dee's Corner.
Uh-oh.
You know, because she got some new merchandise this year, y'all. And it's Valentine's Day. You know what I'm saying? Get your stuff for Valentine's Day. Check her out.
Hey, Dee Dee's Corner. Welcome back with your little host, Dee Dee. Yes, I'm here to give you all of your merchandise for Dining with Nadiva show. I want to let you guys know that we have all new merch. I know you've been hearing it for the past few weeks, but now it's special because we're having our Valentine's Day sale. Yes, so you could get bundles of however you like. You could get 2 items on our merchandise list for about like $45. I know it's a steal, and you can have anything customized with your significant other's very own name or nickname, however you like to call them, butter sugar, or whatever you like to call them. You could get it on any of our Nighting with Nadiva merchandise. Also, we still have our cotton fleece Dining with Nadiva sweaters. Get into it. I would really love for you guys to go ahead and gift somebody today with one of these warm cotton fleece Dining with Nadiva sweaters, and they can have also any personalization you like on the sleeve, on the back, on the hoodie, and you guys can stay divine at any time. So go ahead and click that link in the description box and get yourself or your lover something very special for this holiday, okay? But until next time, Dee Dee's out.
Yeah. Shout out to Deasia doing her Dee Dee's Corner thing. I'm telling you, that's like the highlight of the show for me. It's watching her bring out all of our new merchandise and just put her spin on everything. She's amazing, and she always looks fly doing it. So big shout out to Deasia and Dee Dee's Corner. If you want any merchandise, feel free to hit me up, gmail.com, diningwithnadiva@gmail.com. My Cash App will be displayed, all social media handles, everything. Okay? So hit me up. But we got to jump right into this topic, and the topic is, how do you know that he or she does not want to be with you without them actually telling you they don't want to be with you? So basically what we're talking about is behaviors and actions.
Yes.
And even words. Mm-hmm. But I was actually on the bustle.com, okay? And I got a couple of stats, a couple of examples of how you can tell that somebody is not into you without them actually telling you that they're not into you, okay? And number one is, you always have to initiate contact. If someone wants to talk to you or see you, they will. If you don't feel comfortable quadruple-texting someone and fear they'll see you as clingy, it's not a healthy relationship power dynamic to begin with. Okay? Number two. They're distant in every way, except sexually.
Hated it.
Come on, somebody. Some of y'all are out there right now. You might be more than happy to exchange a smooch while you're out and about together, but your partner seems reserved, cold, and reluctant to engage in any PDA. PDA stands for public display of affection. They never want to take pictures together or post on social media. Could be because they have a wife at home. And they also seem averse to long. I'm just speaking real. I said we know representatives, all authentic. They never want to take pictures together or post on social media. They also seem averse to long emotional talks. Sure, some people take time to open up, but if your gut is telling you that someone isn't really letting you in, except in the bedroom, you might want to reevaluate. Okay. Number three is they're busy all the time. Now, I hate that word busy. Busy, for me, the acronym stands for being under Satan's yoke. I don't like being busy.
All right.
Yeah.
Come on, Juanita.
Come on. I'm a daughter.
Acronym.
Yeah.
I love that.
But they're busy all the time. All the time. If you're constantly being snubbed, right? If you're constantly being snubbed, maybe they can never find time to hang out, or they quote didn't see your text for like 12 hours. There's a high probability that they're just not as into you as you are. There's nothing worse than the feeling of reaching out to someone over and over, only to be repeatedly rebuffed. If you're looking for someone who can commit more time to you, don't be ashamed. Okay?
Yep.
Number four is you don't know their friends or their family.
Love these stats.
Yeah. It's only two more after this, but I love what I read because it broke it down so perfect for me. But continue on. You don't know their friends or their family. If your relationship with this person exists solely within the context of the two of you hanging out together with no social engagements, there's a chance that they're keeping you at arm's length for a reason. It's only natural to want someone you like to meet your friends and family and start being more integrated into your social circles. If it's been more than a couple of months and you've let him or her meet your friends, but you haven't been extended the same courtesy, child.
Bye.
You might want to have a conversation about where things are going. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And number 5 is the physical intimacy is lacking. And now we're not just talking about sex, but intimacy. Into me, you see. Okay? Unfortunately, come on, I don't get no blondes for that. All right? Into me, you see.
I don't need no
That's
drums.
right.
You your own sound effect.
I'm telling you, I'm learning as I do these podcasts.
Right.
Yeah.
Better than the OnlyFans page that we had to shoot down.
But unfortunately, sex and intimacy, while amazing together, are not always a package deal.
No.
If your partner no longer seems prone to cuddling and PDA, these are pretty clear indicators that someone just isn't feeling you. Little displays of intimacy are extremely important to a healthy relationship, and you're not, quote, needy, end quote, for craving these things. Number 6 is they never ask about you. If you text or IRL conversations consist only of short, concise answers, and the person never seems too keen to keep up the conversation going by asking questions, that means bouncing the ball back. I always say that. You got to bounce the ball back to me, you know? Although some people truly are just bad at texting, it majorly shows interest when someone takes the time to ask you about your day. And number 7, there's never talk of the future. That's a huge red flag right there.
Talk about something that don't exist.
Yeah, or they don't want to exist, okay? Someone who's into you and feeling confident that things are heading in a good direction will have no problem getting tickets for that concert next month. On the other hand, someone who's emotionally pulling away can't even make a solid brunch plan for this weekend without flinching, okay? Without flinching. Obviously, you shouldn't start planning your dream wedding on a Pinterest, but with a partner who's genuinely interested in being with you. You should feel somewhat comfortable making future plans, even if they're small.
I agree.
So that's just a little bit of information, and I wanted to read those.
Bit of nothing.
That was a lot.
It was
but
a
it was
lot.
good.
But I think it was necessary because we needed to identify some of the signs and the behaviors that men and women go through when they're just not into you.
And especially when you mentioned at the top that you had a friend who didn't understand the topic and basically saying that this does not exist. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Because when it applies, it hurts.
It does.
You want to go away from that hurt, like that kind of putting a mirror up so I can see my flaw.
Right.
Is very it's tragic sometimes because it's like, wow, that's actually me. So I need to run away from it.
Yeah. I think it takes a lot of discernment and a lot of courage to see exactly what you see, that someone is pulling away or someone is not fully invested in you, in this relationship, so to speak. And then the courage to say, I don't have to stand around and wait for you to tell me.
Right.
You've already shown me. What did Maya Angelou say? People show you who they are, believe them. So if you are showing me without using your words, I need to believe you and then do something about that. Whatever that is for you.
But sometimes people don't see it because they don't want to see it.
Right.
And then they're
Because they go back to the other topic we talked about.
stop getting
I'm sorry.
Seriously.
Because they desperate. They just want because they've been alone too long.
Exactly. And then sometimes you have to have that person, and that's why it's great to have the counsel of other people that you trust, so they can be like, hey, he never really looked at you the whole time. You so busy.
Yeah.
There was an episode, I'm going to take y'all back. There was an episode of The Partridge Family where the girl, I take it back. There was a girl, she was very, very beautiful, but she couldn't sing her way out of a wet paper bag with holes in it. It was bad. And Danny, what's the oldest brother?
That was before my time.
I can only do the Brady Bunch. I can't do the
Anyway, the Partridge Family, they were singing. Anyway, the oldest brother was so enamored by how beautiful she was, he couldn't see that she couldn't sing. So they made a tape of her. And they were like, he was like, who's that? He said, remember that girl you was talking about before? He couldn't see it until he took his eyes off of it. And that's an oxymoron in itself.
Right.
You can't see it without looking at it. Or see it. Anyway, you get it. Anyway.
Kerfuffle.
He couldn't see it because he was so busy looking at it that he couldn't see it. Don't you die me, doggone. Which arms up? Which arms up?
So makes me having me dying over here. You laughing so hard, you be having me cracking up.
So you can't see it unless it's through someone else's eyes.
Right.
And a lot of the times it takes someone else to say, that ain't it.
From the outside looking in.
From the outside looking in, and then show you a tape of it. This is when you was this, and this is when you was this, and this is what you thought you saw, but this is actually what it was. And then you're like, wait a minute, he's not actually into me. And all those things you said you never do,
Right.
you wind up doing because you're so
enamored. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in a relationship like that with a guy that I totally loved and adored, and we had a great connection, but we didn't want the same end result. He wanted right now, and I wanted a couple of forevers.
Yeah.
And I already knew that he didn't want a couple of forevers, but I stayed with it because I didn't want to be by myself.
And that right now was good right now. That right now was good
And
right now.
I'm on tape right now. But I knew I was wasting my time because he didn't want a couple of forevers. So, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to really be courageous and say, this is not working for me. This is not for my good. I'm not getting better. I'm not getting stronger. What I am doing is having a placeholder. I'm just wasting time.
Right.
Time that I can't get back.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
That's one thing I always tell people, you can owe me money and pay me back. But one thing I can't get back, and I hate when people waste it, is my time.
Right.
Don't waste my time. And I think we must take heed to some of these red flags that we see. There's a reason why when my mother was on the show, she said, she talked about vision boards. And,
Right.
And you have those things that, you desire and that you want for yourself. And then when you finally find that man that you put on your vision board with all the qualities and the attributes that you want, but then because you're so desperate in need of, you'll just settle for anything. And so you'll bypass the fact that he doesn't show PDA. You'll bypass the fact that he hasn't introduced you to his family or his friends.
Right, because if you're in a relationship with someone for months and this person has met your family, your friends, you have hung out with other people on your side,
right?
But you haven't met anyone on their side,
right? And now I get it. I mean, for me, as far as like men who have children, I don't need to meet them right away, But I mean, eventually, if we're down the line, I like to meet a cousin or an uncle or whoever.
Somebody that can
who
verify who you are.
Exactly,
who you are,
right?
yeah.
Exactly, because in that
I'm
other
out here calling you Charles, and your name is Henry.
Right, because in that other stat, as I said before, if he does not have a need,
that stung.
What she said?
That stung.
What you said?
I'm calling you Charles because you told me your name was Charles.
That was
and
a
now
real life
when I meet
experience
your
right there.
uncle, he said,
Henry.
"Well, who's Charles?" This is Henry.
I wasn't the victim of it, but I was the out. I was like, that's not his name. And she was like, excuse me, to him. I was like, uh-oh. Well, I knew it, the real you. Like, why you ain't tell me that you had an alias with this person?
Yeah.
I ain't know. Like, I was and a lot of the times you get caught in the matrix, and it's like, well, hold on. Who are you?
Yeah.
And if you don't know who you are, and then you got to ask the person, well, who are you? I really, how did I not know that you had a whole relationship? And as a friend, I felt mad at him because he never told me that he was in a whole relationship and this woman never really knew his real name. Like, dude, who are you then? Why would you do that?
A fraud.
Yeah, a fraud. Yeah.
But you got some of those out there.
Yeah.
They call it catfish.
We still friends, but
They got a whole show on it now. But I've definitely another thing that stood out to me that I think is a huge pet peeve of mine is bouncing the ball back. Like when we're in conversation, and I'm just the only one talking.
Oh. Yeah.
And you ain't asking me nothing. One of
you
my
don't even know anything about me
No.
unless I just share.
Right.
Because you're not really interested.
And I had a boss, an old regional manager that told me, and it just this saying stood out to me. He used to say, where there's interest, there's understanding. If you show no interest, then you ain't gonna understand me. You're not. And that's how you show interest, by asking questions, by bouncing the ball back in conversation, by being and sounding like you're interested in what I'm doing.
Being engaged.
Right, engaged, asking me how my day was, and not through a text message. Pick up the phone.
You know the problem with people like us is whatever. Y'all get it later. We're talkers. We're articulate. We're driven. We know what we want, and we know how to say what we want. And a lot of times we draw opposites, so they may be inept in doing that. I like that word. Inept in doing that, but give them an assignment. I want you to tell me this, this, and this. And if they're unable to do it, that means they didn't take the time to take what you had to an account important enough to do the assignment. Because one way, as an educator, you understand if you don't do this assignment, you're going to fail.
Right.
And if you fail, you're not going to graduate. And if you don't graduate, you might get expelled.
And get left back.
Now, this may be a different show, but that opposite thing is so true because I am a talker, right? And so I have attracted occasionally people that are not loquacious like I am. Let me bring out one of my words.
Come on, I
right?
love it. Loquacious.
Not loquacious. Not loquacious. Not loquacious from the
LaQuasia.
5th floor. LaQuasia. Girl,
But
where's Hopper at?
the challenge with that is,
Well,
so
sugar talking.
I'm talkative, he's not talkative. And so when I stop talking, then that's my way of showing you I'm no longer interested because I've given everything. And you just sitting here, it's like talking to someone and they don't really have anything to say because they're not a talker or they're an introvert. And so they just sit around and
just shake their head,
One
listen.
thing-
okay, and I understand. Like,
What-
come on, bring something.
Yeah, bounce that ball back.
One thing
Right.
as men, though, and I have to say this as a man to women out there, if he's not talking to you, he's not interested in you. Because a man will yell at a TV screen off a football game on people he know can't hear him, but he can't yell at you to tell you or talk to you to tell you how he feels. They will we will invent something if we have an interest in you. We will invent a way to find you and a way to get to you, a way to talk to you.
I believe that.
A situation or scenario, whether you say, I like flowers, well, we will buy up a whole bouquet of flowers or a whole orchard or wherever
Listen,
flowers
you
grow.
pick a dandelion,
Yeah,
pick up
exactly.
a little weed
Hello.
and say, this is all I had.
Yep, it won't blow it. That's all I had, baby. And your grass is all messed up because I done blew the seeds all of your grass.
Yeah. And I always say, like, don't get the big hair and the sparkles fool you. I'm the type of person where I like subtle things. Like, you don't have to buy me a big old grandiose Birka bag. You know what I mean? I'm content with you picking up a card, because a card for me says a lot, because you took the time, you stood in that aisle, you read different cards, but you picked the card that best expressed your emotion towards me. And that for me says a lot about a man. I could go without the flowers and all of that.
like the
Simple act
flowers.
for me. I mean, that, don't get me wrong, I like them too. But something like that means the world to me, because I know you took the time and that was heartfelt and it came from your heart, But these stats, I think, were amazing. And just to my friend's point, and what I think the conflict was that he didn't understand how can you determine you would have to be with someone for 6 months to a year
No,
No.
not
in
at
order
all.
to determine. And I'm like,
Not
no,
at all.
that's not true at
No,
all. Why don't you
because-
break that down?
You do not have to be with someone for 6 months. It can be 2 conversations. That first conversation, you are engaging, you are full in, asking questions, laughing, talking. The next time I talk to you, you got 2 words to say, yeah, and all right. You lost your interest. There. You don't have to tell me you don't want me. You already showed me you don't want me.
That's right.
And I get it. And I don't have to keep calling you and texting
Nope.
you for the next 3 months to try to figure that out.
Right.
You already showed me in that one conversation.
Yep.
You had nothing to say.
Yep. So I totally agree. I mean, this was a great topic. There were some amazing stats that we had on the show. So, look in the comment section in the description of this episode so that you can do your research yourself. You can look at the stats that we just talked about today.
Do your research yourself. Look at your relationship.
And look at your
Right.
relationship. Absolutely.
'Cause
Absolutely.
You might be living everything we just said. If you go back in line and something ain't right,
Yeah, no, you gotta make a change. You gotta make a
Listen,
change, and go back
make
an
that
episode ago and look at our episode where we talked about, settling because you've not been dating for a long time. But we do have a scripture for this topic.
Right there.
Huh?
She got infected. Man, make that change. You gotta make
Michael
that
Jackson.
change.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Man in the mirror. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna get it together.
Yeah,
We're gonna have choir rehearsal.
Yeah. Dang. You
Choir
making it
rehearsal.
sound like we rusties. I don't know what.
You said it. I didn't say it. Thanks.
Or me. I gotta get
We
back
all,
in the
it's
lab.
all right, baby.
I gotta get back in the lab.
Yes, you do.
But look, we have, you know what God said about
What
it.
did God say? Come on here now.
God had a word.
Read.
In Ephesians 5, 6, verse 6 through 10, it says, let no one deceive
Oh, wow.
you with empty words. Uh-huh.
Now.
For because of these things, the wrath of God comes upon the sons of disobedience.
Uh-oh.
Therefore, do not become partners with them. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light, for the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true. And try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord.
Oh, shit.
Well,
Come on,
Shabba-lamma
somebody.
ding-dong,
I
and
ain't
I'm
saying
back.
he did.
Uh-oh.
I ain't saying. I'm just a messenger.
Now, quick,
You know what I'm saying?
grab your way.
I'm just a messenger, everybody.
Grab your neighbor's wallet, take out $30, and send it to the Dining Neighbor with AD
They got my
Silver.
Cash
Quickly,
App
quickly,
below.
you said
quickly.
grab your neighbor's wallet.
Quickly, before they change their mind. Quickly. We need this money. We need this. Offer has to be raised. You see, this TV ain't gonna pay for itself.
But yes, Lord, the Lord said it. He spoke it. You know, if you got to read that scripture again, it'll be also in the description box, so you can go over everything that we talked about here today. But I hope that we were able to bless you, to give you some clarity, to help you make a decision if that needs to be made, or just to get yourself back. You know what I'm saying? So,
And make yourself a priority.
and yeah, make yourself a
Because that person might be full of
priority.
malarkey. See that right there? See what I did?
Ooh. Can I get a ding for that one? The ding, ding, ding.
I left
oh,
it
he
in
left
there.
it. Okay.
It's my
It's
computer
on there.
doing malarkey.
It's on there. It's on there.
She thinking.
But we had a really good time with y'all today. Did y'all have
Yes.
fun?
Good
I
job.
had
Good
fun.
job.
Good. You have
And I
fun?
must say, ladies, you guys have been a wonderful work with over the last couple. How long we been working together?
Forever.
Oh, for a minute.
Forever and ever.
You guys have been
forever.
wonderful work with.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all the wisdom that you've given.
Well, thank you very
Well,
much.
we better end the
It
show
has
before
also
we get
been
beat
a-
up by that one over there.
It has also been a pleasure to share this platform with you. It's been very fun. And of course, you Deja, our production assistant. Y'all can't see her, but she in this room with us with her mic headset and everything, running things. Okay, we gotta wrap up the show. It's time to wrap it up. They're playing the Metacrational music. So we got to wrap it up. But you know what? We got things to do, places to go, and people to see. But we thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget every Wednesday at 7 o'clock on the Inspired Living Network on Roku. You're there, and also here on YouTube.